When you talk to certain people, you literally feel drained of your energy. You literally feel all the negative emotions and you feel so tired, drained, and you don't want to deal with anybody for a while. Now, these people are essentially called energy vampires. Now, energy vampires are people who are unable to source energy on their own, unable to feel higher vibrational emotions such as happiness, love, joy, peace, and then they go to other people and source their energy to them. They're unable to be happy, so they come to you when you're happy, when you are living, thriving, and kind of pull you down to their level. It's like you're having an amazing time, you're having a beautiful time. They come to you, they speak to you. They're like, start focusing on all the negative things that is happening around and that has happened in your life. And when you speak to them, you kind of have these thoughts, oh my God, that happened, this happened. And then they have this amazing way of bringing out your insecurities to you on the surface and then making you feel bad. And that's how you kind of lose your energy. And then there are certain people who you speak to, you feel literally energized, you feel adventurous, you feel so amazing, and you have so much energy. Like you literally want to jump around. Now, that sums up that your energy is the most valuable resource that you have, and you need to protect it. Because wherever your focus and attention goes, that's where your energy flows. Now imagine if you're focusing on all the wrong people in your life. Imagine being surrounded by energy vampires. You will literally have no time to focus on yourself, and moreover, you will literally have the inability to feel love to the fullest. You'll always be drained, focusing on the negative, and you'll unable to appreciate the positive because there won't be any left. Now, how do you actually protect your energy? That's very simple. Just put boundaries. All right. You need to have a strong frame and put certain set of boundaries to people. Just because you have a certain relationship with them, that doesn't mean they have the right to cross the boundary and mention certain things that kind of trigger you. And when, they mention things that kind of trigger you, when they cross that line, you need to stay in frame. You must not lose emotional control. You must not lose your frame. You must literally not lose your temper. You must not be triggered by these external things. Because only when you get triggered, you give them the opportunity to receive your energy. And when you get triggered, right, they literally get high of that. They kind of get some kick out of that. They are poking you, expecting you to react. And when you don't give them that reaction, you just stripped away the power from them. It's like they are barking at a mountain, and the mountain just won't move. Now, sometimes, it's easier said than done because most of the times, energy vampires are your close friends. They're in your university, classroom, your colleagues in your workspace, and sometimes even your family members. And now you're like, okay, now how can I put boundaries? They are my close friends. They are my family. How can I put boundaries to them? How can I be really strict with them? And how can I really hold my frame when energy vampires who are in my family, are literally close to me? How can I do that? Now, what if I told you, like you kind of like, being drained by them? Now, before you get triggered, hear me out. What I'm trying to say here is, let's say your family member, a certain family member is an energy vampire. They literally pinpoint every negative thing that's happening around in the world. They pinpoint all the negative stuff that you've gone through and always talking about negative things, bringing up negative emotions and negative thoughts. And you know that, but you don't put the boundary. And you are okay giving your energy deep down inside because deep down inside, you feel like they're my family member, they're my close friend. And if I give them my energy, if I put up with this BS, they'll like me, they'll love me more. They'll be more, proud of me. And you kind of feel safe because this environment feels safe. Because when you go out of your, normal self and put boundaries, saying that no, that is too much negativity. And if you stop entertaining them, you kind of feel like you are going out of the ordinary. It feels unsafe. It is not familiar. Now, a really good example is, let's say you are in a toxic relationship, or people in toxic relationships. They literally go through abuse every single day. Like, the relationship is clearly toxic from the outside, but the person doesn't really speak up because the person is afraid of losing the toxic partner, and the person is too familiar with this behavior. So when the person expresses out and is out of this toxic relationship, the person feels unfamiliarity. It's like this environment is not familiar and it doesn't feel safe. It feels really unsafe not being in a toxic relationship and being all alone. I'd rather be in a toxic relationship than be alone. So that is the logic here. That you would literally rather be in a toxic household than stand up for yourself and put these boundaries on. You literally entertain toxic energy vampires than stand up for yourself and put these boundaries. And that's because deep down you're afraid of losing that person. Deep down you're afraid of not feeling safe. Deep down you are afraid to face the unfamiliarity because you have been familiar with this treatment, and all of a sudden, if you're kind of changing your behavior, if you're kind of changing this routine, this pattern of being that nice person, of giving your energy, entertaining these energy vampires, entertaining these negative people, if you have built up this pattern over the years and all of a sudden you want to stop this, it's not going to happen. And your body, your mind just won't allow that to happen because it feels unsafe. And when it feels unsafe, all you can do is face your fears in the face and let go of them, because it's now or never. Because eventually you'll have to do it someday, or literally your entire life will be just you just giving so much of your energy. And this is where people pleasing comes into play. This is where you are overgiving in any relationship and you're not receiving anything in return. It's like you're doing so much for the other person, you're doing so much for the people around you, and you're getting nothing. You're barely getting anything. Even if you get nothing is fine, but sometimes you get back things that you're not pleased with, things that kind of brings down your worth, your self-worth, brings down your respect, and that is kind of messed up. And this is basically a toxic relationship. Like, you're doing so much for the other person, but the other person brings you nothing but shame, pain, hate, anger. Now, this is an energy vampire dynamic. Now, there are two types of people, basically: the ones who overgive and the ones who overtake. Right? The ones who overtake basically, are in the frame where, oh my God, I didn't receive anything while growing up. Let me just take. And the ones who overgive are the ones who are like, oh my God, what if I lose this other person? They would have had a childhood where they would have to impress mom, they would have to impress dad in order to receive love. So that's why they grow up and start overgiving things. Okay, I'll overgive this much. I will do this, I will do that, and maybe I'll receive love. Because you cannot blame everything on the energy vampire. You cannot blame everything on the person who's draining your energy just by speaking negative stuff. You should also take a part of the blame, because even you are playing a game here. You are feeding the energy vampire, and even you are to be blamed. It's because you are trying to get something in return. You imagine just you go to a mall, a retail store, you go shopping, and that one person is so overly nice in the store, like, oh my God, how was your day? Did you eat today? How's the weather? You want to buy this, you want to buy that, and you kind of know in the background, oh my God, this person is so nice. He's trying to sell me something. He probably needs my money. He probably needs something in return. Nobody's so nice. So when you are so nice, entertaining this person who's so overly negative, and you are oversharing and overgiving, in a way, even you kind of are feeding into that game, are playing that game in order to receive something. All right. Now, most of the times, right, you don't really know this. Even the person who's draining other people's energy doesn't really know this. It happens in a very subconscious level. The person who's being an energy vampire and taking other people's energy, is basically, doing it. Most of the times they're doing it unconsciously. 98% of the people are doing it unconsciously. They're like, oh my God, they have so much trauma, they have so much pain on their mind, they're in their body, and all they have to say are negative things. All they have, you know, to experience are negative things, because that's what, they put the vibe around them. You speak to them, and all they speak about is negative things. And then you, on the other side, let's say you are being drained of your energy, and you are spending, a lot of time with these people. You're not putting boundaries. Even you need something in return. You are giving so much, you're overgiving, you're oversharing, you're putting up with this without any boundaries. In a way, even you are trying to fulfill that inner childhood, that inner child of yours. Because you would have probably not received love, which is unconditional. So now you are putting up with this so that, you think, okay, I'll receive love. I'll receive some sort of validation. I'll get that person to like me, maybe if I do this. And even being overly nice. Now, correlates to being overly nice. When you're not putting boundaries and you're letting other people take advantage of you, is basically you being overly nice. And in a way, even you have unfulfilled childhood needs. And people who are energy vampires also have unfulfilled childhood needs, because all of this stems from childhood trauma. Now, these energy vampires would have had a pretty rough childhood, and now they're in such a pessimistic state, like internally, they start talking only about negative things. And whenever they speak to anybody else, all they can talk about is negative things and bring down the whole vibe. And the other person is literally drained. Now, imagine this. You're just watching negative news all day. You will literally be drained by the end of the day. And that's how, they operate. Now, even they are doing it unconsciously most of the time. And now you kind of oversharing, overgiving, being a people pleaser, trying to impress everybody, is also a form of manipulation. You are also doing it to receive something, because as a kid, you would have not probably received unconditional love. Because if you had received unconditional love, you would not be putting up with any of this. You would have healthy boundaries. And now when you're putting up with this, you kind of feel, okay, I'll do this. I'll probably receive love. I'll probably receive respect. Maybe that's what the pattern, that was going on in your childhood. Maybe if I do this, mom will love me. Maybe if I do that, dad will love me. Maybe if I achieve certain set of things in my school, if I score a certain number of marks, I will receive this. And if love was based on conditions, you grow up into a people pleaser. Now, when you understand, how deep this runs, and now you know the root cause, it's all stemming from childhood wounds. All you have to do is heal your inner child. And then it'll be so much more easier for you to, just put boundaries and, deal with energy vampires. And most of the times, as I mentioned before, energy vampires come in the form of family members, of your close friends, relatives. At that time, once you have done the inner work, you would have the ability to put strong boundaries. And then all you have to do is hold your frame. Even if you do all the inner work and surround yourself with people, high vibrational people, there will still be energy vampires who walk into your life, because that is the way of life. That is nature at its finest. When there is light, there is also dark. When there's positive, there's also the negative. You just need to know how to balance the both and stay in the light side. So all you have to do here is hold your frame, is be in state, not be triggered by any external thing that happens on the external world. Your self-concept, your self-worth, self-esteem must be so strong, should be so you're authentic, that you are not faced by any minor inconvenience. And moreover, when I mentioned that even you are to be blamed for energy vampires stealing your energy, is because you are not being authentic. Because if you are authentic, truly authentic, you would not be putting up with this. As a kid, you were authentic. Even right now, walk into a kindergarten class, or first grade, second grade class. Some kids will not put up with certain bullshit. They would scream, they would shout, they'd fight, even though like you're literally, they could be just 3 4 feet. They will literally fight you. They would tell when they are, angry. It's because they are in that natural baseline state. Even you were in that natural baseline state. But when you were growing up, you're like, okay, how can I be more good enough in order to get people to like me? And you start going down this rabbit hole. And now you're overgiving, you're people pleasing, you're oversharing, and you're putting up with this energy vampires. You're putting up with people who drain your energy. The reason they drain your energy is because you have allowed them to drain your energy. And I don't mean to be so rude here, but that is the truth. You have allowed them to drain your energy. The reason here, the core reason in deep down inside, is because you kind of crave that validation. You kind of crave that attention. You kind of need that. There's an inner fulfillment need that has to be, fulfilled there, that has to be addressed there. And that's the reason why you're even putting up with this, and you're not being really authentic. You kind of putting up with all of this without really putting boundaries, kind of you being fake in a way. You're unable to have that courage to say, hey, no, because deep down inside, you're afraid to lose that relationship. You're afraid to lose that person, and you fear uncertainty. You fear unfamiliarity, which makes you feel unsafe, and you don't want to feel unsafe. Now this happens in the subconscious, while you're trying your level best to be normal in the conscious self, but things don't really appear to be normal. Now, once you understand this, do the inner work, just learn how to set boundaries and be your true, authentic self. None of this would ever happen. Like, you would know how to deal with energy vampires. Just because you cut out people, that doesn't mean you will never run into an energy vampire ever again. You will run into energy vampires. You will run into negative people. That is the way of life. But it is not the people itself. It's how you deal with them. And you can deal with them only if you know how to deal with your inner thoughts and emotions. Only if you know how to unify your heart and your mind. And then it'll be so much more easier to deal with them. And you will not be sucked into their energy vortex system. And you literally have a much better way of understanding relationships and having beautiful, amazing, awesome relationships.